Scamming is a game. People are fools. Anyone can fall for scams.
Hold on a minute. The real scams is marketing, and everyone is falling for it.
And here's Siri to tell you guys more.
Marketing is godlike in the showcasing of the power of words. If influencers, a type of marketers, say someone is a terrorist even though there's resounding evidence to contradict that statement, many people will believe instantly. To revert this false statement, that evidence must be presented by a wider and more influential group of marketers. For if not, that person will be tagged a terrorist and be treated as such in the traditional media and everywhere, even though they may have not committed any such crimes.
In the early 1950s, Mohammad Mossadegh was democratically elected Prime Minister of Iran. And he'd run on a platform of reining in the foreign oil companies, letting them operate there, but only under the condition that they would return a fair share of their profit to the Iranian people. Well, the American and British oil companies didn't like this, and our governments didn't like it. This was during the Eisenhower administration, and Eisenhower was really afraid of a nuclear war with Russia, which war was on Iran, so he didn't want to send in the troops. But instead, the Dulles brothers, who ran his State Department and his Defense Department, convinced him to send in a CIA agent, Kermit Roosevelt, with a few suitcases full of dollars. He convinced people to run the media and to demonstrate in the streets and to make it look as though Mossadegh was very unpopular. So they threw him out and replaced him with the Shah of Iran, who became the friend of oil companies. That's something you don't learn in school.
Take Trump for instance. He established a very strong following within a very wide group of like-minded individuals.
Nobody knows the system better than me.
He is in any sense of the word an influencer. And no matter what anyone says, his followers only abide by and believe whatever he says.
Which is why I alone can fix it.
If he says Africa is going to be the next big thing, a land filled with milk and honey, even though he has no evidence to support the statement, foreign investors amongst and outside of his base will rush into the continent, and in no time the continent will become the land of milk and honey because of his statement, even though there isn't any actual facts to base it on, as well as the FOMO effect. The FOMO effect is the fear of missing out on a new projected opportunity. Currently, the US media portrays Nigerian people as scammers, and the global world has the same view because the US has centered themselves around the world's media.
Based in Nigeria, the FBI says this crime ring also was able to hit 1,000 people who live in Los Angeles and bilk them out of $73 million. And just how fast is this crime growing?
While in actual facts Nigerians are the most higher-level educated immigrants in the U.S. and most likely the least unemployed immigrants in both high-level or low-level paying U.S. jobs, but the U.S. media and influencers hardly ever portray this rhetoric.
But if that's what Trump wants, he should know that Nigerian immigrants, who make up the largest group of sub-Saharan African immigrants in the United States as of 2017, check all those boxes. They are some of the most educated immigrants in America. According to the Migration Policy Institute, 59% of Nigerian immigrants aged 25 or older in the U.S. hold at least a bachelor's degree. That is nearly double the proportion for Americans born in the U.S. It is also more than the proportion for immigrants from South Korea, China, Britain, and Germany. And Nigerian immigrants tend to work high-skilled jobs. 54% of them are in largely white-collar positions in management, business, science, and the arts, compared to just 39% of people born in the U.S. That means, of course, they have significant spending power. According to a new report by the New American Economy Research Fund, in 2018, Nigerian immigrants in the United States made more than $14 billion.
So in conclusion, no matter how hard we work in foreign countries and how many people thrive within the country, our image will still remain the same, our influence will remain the same, the perception of our people by the international audience wouldn't change very much. So you see, what we have here is a marketing problem not one hard work alone can get rid of, but instead compelling emotionally attached storytelling. We as a nation, a continent and a community have to rebrand the story the world hears about us. I challenge you to be part of this process. I challenge you to be part of this journey, and we will achieve the dream of a continent filled with milk and honey. A peek into the mind of awesome by God's grace. Alan Riwayoluole.